And as long as you can keep going, as long as you can put your socks on the next day, you're going to be fine. And you can really succeed in this career is just like you can in that career, as long as you're, again, not willing to give up, not willing to get down on yourself.
They're very good. I think that's a great lesson to learn from baseball. Also, there's a lot of discipline involved, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
you have to practice massively to stay on top of your game as a professional athlete. So I would guess that you take that discipline into everything that you do too. Welcome to Realizations, everyone. I'm Andrea Gordon. I'm your host. As this is a podcast about everything that has to do with real estate. I founded this podcast because I got really pissed off about the DOJ NAR lawsuits and the commission lawsuits. And I thought, okay, I'm going to be pissed off for years now. But then I thought, rather than being angry, because anger just hurts you, when you feel disrespected and you have that little chip on your shoulder, it doesn't do any good for you. So I thought, what can I do that's positive that would maybe make a difference and educate the American people about what it is we actually do in real estate and the variety of experience that's possible in real estate and how we intersect and impact communities that we live in and serve. So that was the whole purpose behind the creation of this podcast. And over the last year, it has significantly morphed. I've been so pleased and proud to have had a considerable number of amazing guests on. And today we have Evan Crawford here from Alabama. Hi, Evan. Nice to
Hey, how are you,
meet
Andrew?
you.
Thank you for having me.
I'm good. And Evan works in Auburn, Alabama. He's been a realtor for 11 years. They have an area of specialization of development and new construction, but they handle just all kinds of real estate sales. Tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got into real estate.
Sure. So I moved to Auburn for college. It's a college town primarily. Moved to Auburn for college, and then I actually played baseball professionally for about 8 years. And as I was finishing up that career, I knew what I wanted to do, and that was going to be real estate. My mother was in real estate. My grandfather was in real estate. My uncles were in real estate. So I grew up around it my whole life and laid sod on houses. My grandfather was also a builder, so I laid sod at houses that he had built, and since I was 6, 7 years old. So always been around it and always enjoyed it, and always saw the joy it can bring to not only the people that they work with, but their lifestyle that they were able to lead with being able to be around. And it's not something where you're traveling out of town, which my last job was a lot of that. So I knew I wanted to stay put. And that was something that as I was finishing up my last season there, I decided to go ahead and jump into the classes, got into that, and immediately jumped into real estate around here, and been doing it since 2014 here in Auburn. And in about 2017, 18, my business partner and I, he was a mentor of mine when I started at the brokerage I was at. He had been doing real estate. He's much, much, much older than me. He had been doing it since he pretty much got out of high school. He started in 2003, 2004, 2005, somewhere around there. And so learned a lot from him. And then we just realized we worked really well together. We did some commercial deals together. And then from there, we just said, hey, let's make this thing full time. So we started the Crawford Willis group and started adding some agents from there. And we've had growing pains. We've slimmed it back up since then and just realized what worked well for us. That was running lean and mean with really specialized and really great agents. And so that's where we're at right now. We've got us two, and then we've got 3 other agents on the team that do both buyers and sellers. They all have their own specialties really. Mm-hmm. And then we've got our office manager, and then we've got our transaction coordinator, and we just run lean and mean and do as much as we can.
Well, very cool. I have some more specific questions for you, but a couple things. Is Alabama a state where you follow the transaction all the way to the end, or does an attorney get involved to sign paperwork, et cetera, like in New York State, for example?
Oh, no, man. We followed all the way through.
California.
Yes, ma'am. So we work from the beginning. We're coming in as sort of ambassadors of the city. Mm-hmm. People are calling and saying, sometimes they say, hey, look, we're looking at Gulf Shores, Alabama, or we're right on the Georgia line. So sometimes people might say, hey, we're looking at Columbus, Georgia, or Auburn, Alabama. And so really from there, our first job is to advocate for our city and say, hey, we've got this going on in our school systems. We've got this type of activity coming. And obviously it's easy to sell Auburn we've got a really good athletic program collegiately. So it's easy for us to show them a couple clips of tailgating and they say, all right, that looks like a pretty good place to go. So that's where it starts. It starts there. And then it's learning that client and learning that family and learning what they're looking for. And from there, we're finding them in the right place in the contract, inspections, appraisals, and we're running them through the whole process there up to the
Right.
closing date. And then beyond, obviously. That's where
Yeah.
I think that's where the most of the real estate gets done and the most of the referrals get done is after the closing.
No, absolutely. In contact with clients and making sure that you connect with them on birthdays and important times and making sure that you are staying in contact on a regular basis. That's really what makes a real estate agent successful ultimately.
Correct.
So, what is an average price point in Auburn, Alabama for a single family home?
In Auburn, our average price point is probably it floats somewhere between I'd say 395 to 415, something like that is where we're going to be. And we got a sister city, Opelika. Our office is actually located in Opelika. We're there. Sometimes you don't know which one you're in. They're right next to each other. I would say somewhere in that 395 to 415 is going to be our price points. And then we have a Lake Martin, which is a fairly prestigious lake, probably about 30 minutes from us, 25 minutes from us. And we work that area as well. And that's going to be closer to that $900 million mark. It's going to be an average up there.
And that 395, does that get you a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom with a decent yard and a garage?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. That's going to be what that's going to look like. And there's obviously, we've got a variety of different property types around here. We've got estate lots and stuff. Those are obviously going to run you more, the land. And we've got large tracts of land here where we've got some rural properties outside of the inner city here in Auburn. We're still a southern town. So we've got some large farm tracts and things like that here as well, timberland.
Do you also work with farms and?
We do. Yes, ma'am. We have one of our agents here. He really specializes in that. So he handles a lot of the times that we get those land tracts, timber tracts and things like that. He handles a lot of that stuff for us. So again, we do try to have somebody that's going to be specialized for our agents.
Got it. And are all of those properties on a public sewer? Or do you have septic? How does that get handled?
We have a lot of septic here outside of the city center. A lot of times we do have septic. The city's been pretty good about running sewer and helping out with helping developers and subsidizing that aspect of the development and pulling sewer if they're anywhere close by. But they do have, obviously, if you're going to be a certain size lot, if you're going to be over an acre and a half or over, I think it's an acre, they're going to typically do septic here.
And what about water rights and things like that?
City water, typically. City water, or we do have water places. That's usually, again, the larger tracts.
Yeah, so those are, and by the way, for my viewers, those are specialized skill sets that realtors have to have, because if you do have to deal with wells, you have to understand testing, you have to understand the way in which wells work. Same thing with septic. You need to understand how a septic works and what the parameters of that are. There's some specialized skills that people have to have when they work in these sorts of areas. So I'm going to shift gears a little bit here. You were a professional baseball player. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. Once upon a time, I would say it sounds more glamorous than it was. Most of my time was spent in the minor leagues there on bus trips. So most of my career was there.
That's okay, but it's still phenomenal because it takes so much skill just to get to that point in the sports. I come from a background of theater, and
nice.
If you get to the point where you can actually slightly support yourself doing it in this country, you are very lucky. With sports, there's so many people that want to be great baseball players, but very few of them get to be there. What was were you a pitcher? Were you a?
Yes, ma'am, I was. And a lot of people like to say pitchers aren't the athletes, but I try to.
Oh, hell yeah, they are.
I like the style. Yes, but I was a pitcher.
Yeah. So what I would ask you, because I incorporate in my business, I've written a book that's called Realizations, where I incorporate my training from theater, which I've had from a very early age. My mom was an opera singer. And when I was 4 years old, I started traveling all over the country with her doing musical comedies. So I played Greta, Marta, and Brigida in The Sound of Music because I kept growing.
That is really cool.
So I've taken what I know from being a theater director and put it into the book because they're analogous skill sets when you're working in real estate. Who am I? What am I doing? What do I want to do? What am I going to do to get what I want? What are the obstacles in the way of what I want? And things like that. What would be some lessons from baseball that you have taken directly into real estate?
Yeah, I think Probably the biggest one and the most glaring one would be that it's perseverance. It's a lot of
Mhm.
failure. Baseball's a game of failure. You're good. You're in the Hall of Fame if you get a hit 3 out of 10 times. And so you take that into phone calls, you take that into calls with people. And if you get 3 clients out of 10 calls, you're a Hall of Famer in the real estate world too.
Yeah.
I think that was probably the biggest thing that I brought over from baseball would be just the perseverance of, hey, there's really no time to quit. There's no time to get upset about yourself. You're going to fail. That's going to be part of this game. That's going to be part of this career. And as long as you can keep going, as long as you can put your socks on the next day, you're going to be fine. And you can really succeed in this career is just like you can in that career, as long as you're, again, not willing to give up, not willing to get down on yourself.
Very, very good. I think that's a great lesson to learn from baseball. Also, there's a lot of discipline involved, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
you have to practice massively to stay on top of your game as a professional athlete. So I would guess that you take that discipline into everything that you do too. And
Yes. Repetition. And it's the same thing again, with phone calls to clients, when you're starting out, you don't necessarily know what you're talking about. But as long as you continue to have those conversations and you continue to learn as you go, you get more comfortable with those
Mhm.
conversations. You get more comfortable with certain objections and things that you might have just given up as an early agent. And later on, you're more comfortable and you understand what actually is going to help somebody and help maybe get out of their own way, but
Mhm.
what's best for them. And being able to have those conversations and being able to practice those conversations and continue to do that. And I think that just makes you a better agent, just like it does a better hitter or pitcher.
There you go. And when you are working in real estate, what is your favorite part of the job?
I think my favorite part of this is just getting to know people, getting to help people, getting to see a smile on the kid's face when they say, "Oh, this is going to be my bedroom."
Mhm.
Those kind of moments in real estate are really special. And then I think just having someone call you a year, 2, 3 years later and say, "Hey, you're my real estate guy," or, "Hey, or even just, "Hey, you're my contact for everybody in town here. Yeah. Can you give me somebody good that's going to change my tires? Can you give me somebody good?" I think that's what I really enjoy about this is just the aspect of really getting to be a part of people's lives and being able to help them. I think
And
that's the best part.
how large an area, how many people live in the area that you serve?
Our area, what we got, like 120,000 so in the Auburn Opelika area, somewhere around there. Yeah, 125, 130, something
Oh,
like that.
you really get to know people
Oh
because
yeah,
do you have kids? Do they go to school in the area?
I do. I have 3 very rambunctious kids. So they're all involved in different sports, and so we see people all the time. You really can't get away from them,
Yeah.
honestly. I enjoy that.
Yeah, it's really different for me because I serve both Berkeley and Oakland in the Bay Area of California. And as opposed to 120,000 people, we're like, I don't know how many millions in the whole area. And so it's a different environment. It's very urban and
Right,
there's a lot of isolation. People live in a condo building and they don't know their neighbors on the same floor. It's a very different thing. And
yeah,
our price points are super different than yours.
I'm sure.
Yeah, median house in Berkeley is 1,200,000 and something, and a median
Wow,
house in Oakland is around 1,050,000.
wow,
And and so you've got a lot of people that are commuting, working tech jobs. They don't really connect to the community necessarily that they're living in because their whole life is someplace else. And since
right,
the pandemic, they've been made to go back to work. A lot of people were working from home. A lot of
right.
people bought houses way the hell away from their jobs. And then all of a sudden their employers were like, no, you have to be here 4 days a week. So there's a lot of transit going on. We have incredible traffic in our area.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah,
Uh,
we're fortunate, I guess, in that regard. We don't have
yeah.
too much of that, and yeah, that is very different because we have next Friday, we have Wine on the Track. So our office is in downtown Opelika in a historic building. We're right on the railroad tracks here. And so we have an event every year called Wine on the Tracks. And we'll see 100 of our past clients at that. And they'll come
Aw,
up and they'll come into our office and they'll come see us and get a glass of wine and chat and talk about their house. And so our motto in our office is converting clients into friends. So we definitely stay put with our clients
that's a
and
great motto. What a
yeah.
beautiful motto.
Well,
Converting
thank you very
clients.
much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much.
Okay. And I'm writing that down because I think that's nice. So another question I have, most realtors give back pretty phenomenally to the community. What are the ways in which you and your company give back to the community that you live in? What charitable organizations are you involved with? Where do you place that kind of love of the community?
Yeah, we do a lot of things just locally here in downtown Opelika. We sponsor a ton of events. But if you get to the kind of the heart of us, and the heart of me at least, is one of my best friends growing up is special needs. And we have a baseball team that we sponsor and that we have here locally. That's the Auburn Pilots. And so it's adults with special needs, and we play all over Georgia and the Southeast. And so we actually had a game last weekend, have one again this weekend. We're supposed to have practice today, but looking a little grim. We do that. And then some of our clients, they actually have they have a similar nonprofit, and it's called Rouge Roots. And they were clients of ours, friends of ours, and they both have MMA backgrounds, martial arts backgrounds.
Yeah.
And they have started a gym now called Rouge Roots that is for special needs. And so it's jujitsu and Muay Thai and boxing and weightlifting and all that. And so we've become a part of that as well, and on the board for that. And so we obviously, if it includes our clients, we try to dive all in. We want to help them however we possibly can. If it's a client's son's baseball team, we want to try to sponsor, or we want to give what we can to them because they're the ones that have put us in a position to be able to do so. That's always very important to us. And yeah, I'd say we try to tie in as much as we can.
That's great. I love that. I have talked to realtors all across this country, and there isn't a single one that I have talked to that doesn't give back in some significant way. And I think that's one of the things that's lost on the American public in so many ways. We contribute to our culture so profoundly on a regular basis.
Very important to us. It's important to us to have a good community, and a community that cares about each other, because again, you're selling your community. And if you're selling a community that's doesn't care about each other, and you're selling a community that's not tight knit, then you're not doing anything to help it, then you're lying to yourself and lying to everybody else too, in my opinion.
I agree. My special causes are theater, because I love theater, but also, so I sponsor a scholarship at the Berkeley Repertory Theater, and I give pretty profoundly to the theaters that I work with.
Still active? You still active in the theater?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
I'm actually the director of reading development for the Magic Theater in San Francisco, and I have readings every single month. As a matter of fact, a play I wrote is being read on Monday night at the Magic. So
wow. Congratulations.
It's a professional theater company, so it's great. The actors are phenomenal.
Congratulations. Because we Auburn just opened about 3 years ago, the Googe Center, and it's a performing arts center, and it's really neat. It's right down from my house, and we have plays come in quite a bit, and we've been fortunate enough to have some of the actors that are traveling around with the show. They've stayed with us.
Oh, that's great.
At our house, and so we've gotten to know some of them, and it's been really cool. They did the Waiter not too long ago, the show Waiter, and they came and they let us, we went backstage with them and everything, and saw how they changed clothes and all that stuff, like where all that was and how all the props were working and all that's pretty cool. We were pretty intrigued by that.
Yeah, it's fascinating. All the behind the scenes stuff. People have no idea. When you're watching in an audience, you get this illusion of whatever it was that the director and the actors and everybody wanted to make happen. But you go backstage, and that gown that looks so beautiful under the lights might have a rip in it, or might have paint on it, or whatever. It's fascinating that way. So I still am really involved with that. I also work a lot with the Berkeley Humane Society, because I love animals. And
awesome.
Yeah, do you have pets?
I do, yes. We actually just got one about a month ago. We had one for a while, and then we took a little break after she passed, the dog. And then about a month ago, my cousin she seems to take in every dog she sees. And so she has about 6 of them. And I found another one that was running along the railroad tracks, actually, and it was cleaned up and everything. And so I was working, and my wife said, "Hey, we got a new dog," and sent a picture with the kids and the dog. And I said, that sounds funny. And then I got home, and we had a dog. So we had a dog about a month ago. And so she's actually our office dog.
Yeah,
she hangs out in the office every day, but my wife has her today, so she's not with us.
Yeah, I love animals. I actually have 2 dogs, and we actually just got another puppy, and we have 2 cats and 2 parrots.
Wow.
Yeah. How old are your kids, by the way?
We have an 11, a 9, and a 6.
Oh, very cool. I've written a children's book about my parrot called Yo-Yo in a Tree.
I'll have to check that out and write that down.
It's available on Amazon. And if you send me your address, I'll send you a copy.
That would be awesome. Yes, absolutely.
It'd be great for your 6-year-old.
I love that.
Your other kids are a little too old for it, but it would be great for your 6-year-old.
That's great. And that's great. And we have something in common. I actually wrote children's book about real estate, actually. So
I would
I'll
love
have to
to see
reciprocate.
it.
Yeah, I'll send it off to you. Well, it's starring my children, so I'll have to
Ah,
send that off to you as well. We'll trade children's books
that's wonderful.
about where my
You've been an absolutely delightful guest. I'm so happy to know you. If I ever have anybody for Alabama, I will send them your way.
Mandy.
And do me a favor, can you
Yes,
just
ma'am.
tell us how people can reach you? What are your handles online, and what's the best
Yeah,
place to get a hold of you?
yeah. On Instagram, we're at Crawford Willis Group, and
And
then our
Willis is
website.
spelled Willis.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And then our website is www.crawfordwillisgroup.com.
Okay.
I believe our YouTube is also at Crawford Willis Group. So we keep it simple. We're not the smartest bunch, so we want to make sure we keep it simple for ourselves. So yes,
I
ma'am.
can tell you guys are smart and goofballs.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes, and you'll see that on YouTube, I'm sure. So we keep it light, keep it fun, and work hard. That's
That,
our way of going about every day.
that's beautiful. What a lovely conversation we've had. Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you.
Yes,
Take
ma'am. Thank you
care.
for having me. I appreciate it big time.
All righty.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Bye.
Okay. So that was it. And my production company will edit it together. So like where I'm coughing, they'll cut to you.
Gotcha. Awesome. That sounds great. That was fun. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for having me. I
Of
appreciate it.
course. It was great. And hopefully it brings you some business. And
Yeah.
I love talking to people other places because I think this country really needs to be brought together.
I
And
agree.
I live in the most liberal bastion in the history of mankind in California.
Yeah.
But what I have found is that people are the same all over. And
Oh, yeah.
so we all really need to just make it a big effort to come together. And that's part of what
I agree 100%. I
yeah.
couldn't agree anymore. I think everybody wants the same thing.
Yeah, I agree. All right.
Yeah.
You have a beautiful day. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You too. I'll shoot you an email with address, and I'll shoot
I would
you a
love
book
that.
if
And
you
I will
shoot me
send.
one. I'd love to get that yo-yo in a tree.
Excellent. All right.
Bye-bye.
If you loved hearing from these incredible voices shaping real estate, you'll want to catch what's next. Click the video on screen to keep discovering more inspiring stories.